Shalom.
Right. First and foremost, we want to give all praises and all glory to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash.
Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the sincere Akim pushing this truth to sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their life for Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai sake. Hey, we're brothers from the GMS Miami. All right, our lesson today is going to be in the what they call the statehood of Israel. All right, how that was set up, and what you see in front of your screen is an article about the Balfour Declaration. Now, you know, brothers have gone into the Balfour Declaration, but this lesson we're going to get into the behind the scenes of how this Balfour Declaration was set up. Who were the key players? All right. So, you know, if you don't know anything about the Balfour Declaration, just give you a little synopsis. It was basically an agreement between the British government and the Jewish, the small hats, mainly directed towards those living in Britain, that they would set up a Jewish state, quote unquote, in what they call Palestine. All right. And it was a letter written by Arthur Balfour, and he wrote a letter to Walter Lionel Rothschild. So if you scroll down, Brother Abu Kachak, these are the key players. All right, you had Arthur Balfour, who wrote the letter. Okay, and he was a Christian Zionist, and we'll get to that later. There's Lionel Walter Rothschild, a banker. Okay, then you also have Chaim Weizmann, who was the head of the Zionist movement. All right. Then you have David Lloyd George, who pretty much set up that, you know, if the Jewish people in Britain were to back the war in World War I, that they'd get their land. So he was the one that set that up. Okay, if you scroll down, a bunch of other key players. Okay, So these are all Edomites, okay? But a lot of them are Amalekites, but they're still Edomites. So now let's go to get to the next one. Balfour Declaration. All right. Now there's the breakdown of it, how it all started. All right, but we're going to go down to the history. So if you go down to the early British support, there we go. So it reads as follows. It says, before we get there, let's bring out a scripture. Bring out the first scripture, the water. Proverbs 25:2. It is glory of the Most High to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter. All right? And that's why, you know, we here at Great Millstone, through the Spirit of Yahweh, we look into things. Or our apostles always push, all right? Look into things. Go into history. Go into maps. Go into timepieces. Okay? So now we're going to go into, if anybody got anything to say?
And I just wanted to add, you know, and this is key, you know, because another thing we want to address is the whole Holocaust issue, you know, and it's extremely important to understand the Balfour Declaration because that's where the biggest question mark gets answered, you know, with the whole Holocaust and whatever they claim happened. You see?
That's right. All right, because that was the excuse that they were going to use to get all them small hats into the land. You know, that Holocaust. So now we're going to go back to Declaration. All right, we're going to read early British support. So early British political support for an increased small hat presence in the region of Palestine was based upon key point geopolitical calculations. And that's why you got to go into the history, because what was going on? All right, there was an issue between six superpowers. You had Russia, you had Great Britain, and you had France. All right, and they were going against who? The Ottoman Empire, the Germans, and the Austrians. Okay, so there was a lot of friction going on within these different superpowers, and so who had control over that territory within the Middle East? The Ottoman Empire. All right. So this support began in the early 1840s and was led by Lord Palmerston, followed the occupation of Syria and Palestine by separatists Ottoman governor Muhammad Ali of Egypt. Right. So you had a sellout from the Ottoman Empire who was willing to work with the British. And so this is how they were moving, you know. Because you know how Esau gets down. I'll pay you off, you know. Right. I know you with Ottoman Empire, but, you know, we'll cut a deal. So this is what happened.
Right. Make you a deal you can't refuse.
Right. Yeah. So French influence had grown in Palestine and the wider Middle East, and its role of protector of the Catholic communities began to grow, just as Russian influence had grown as a protector of the Eastern Orthodox in the same regions. This left Britain with a sphere of influence and thus need to find or create their own regional protégés. These political considerations were supported by sympathetic evangelical Christian sentiment towards the restoration of the Jews. So this is where you get these fanatical Christians here in America, like, no, they got to go back to their homeland. All right, they got to go back. This is where you get Christian Zionism, and we're going to go into that. All right. To Palestine among elements of the mid-19th century British political elite, most notably Lord Shaftesbury, the British Foreign Office actively encouraged small hat immigration to Palestine, exemplified by Charles Henry Churchill. Okay, so there you go. So you got a little synopsis of why they wanted to usher in, all right, these Amalekites, these small hats into that land for geopolitical reasons and for religious reasons. They wanted the restoration of the Jews, right, to bring in the Messiah, which is going to get deeper into that. And that's why they had to create this whole Holocaust to kill that narrative, all the persecution, to fulfill, quote unquote, biblical prophecy.
Right. And also, like me and the bishop were just talking about in the kitchen, it still goes back to that birthright.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They know. They've never forgotten. Okay, we discontinued from our heritage. They didn't. And one thing about Imalaq and Esau Edom, they do their research. They do their homework. They know exactly what's going on because, like the elder apostles always say, for you to tell a lie, you have to know the truth.
That's right.
And they know the truth. Okay, and that's why they went through all this to create a narrative, you know, that the brother's speaking about right now.
Yep. They're building it. They're building a narrative. So now let's get into the Rothschilds. Where do they fit in all this? Okay, so let's go to the second link. We're going to go back to that Balfour Declaration. All right, this is from the Rothschild archives. Walter Rothschild and the Balfour Declaration. All right, it says on November 2nd, 1917, the British government expressed its sympathy with, all right, small hat Zionist aspirations and announced that it would use its best endeavors to facilitate the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the small hat people. The announcement came in a letter from Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour to Lionel Walter, Second Lord Rothschild. Now, this is from the Rothschild website, all right? This is their own archives. The unofficial leader of the British Jewish community, right? The Balfour Agreement became the diplomatic foundation stone of the state of Israel. The origins of the letter had begun in the early 20th century when Chaim Weizmann, the leading spokesman for the Zionism in Britain, began to solicit support among British people shortly after he settled in Manchester in 1904. Origins of the First War. It says, beginning in 1916, the British hoped that in exchange for their support of Zionism, the small hats would help to finance, there's the key part, the growing expenses of the First World War, which was becoming increasingly burdensome. Okay? So that's why they wanted Lionel Rothschild, all right? They're like, hey, look, we'll give you this land, but give us money to fund the war against the Ottoman Empire, against, you know, the Germans, against the Austria.
You stated earlier, Rothschild was a banker, right?
A banker, that's right. He's a banker. So, okay.
So you got now to say basically, they gave him an offer. We need help. So here's an offer, so you won't just feel like you just funding us for no reason.
Right.
Hey, and as we all know, all wars are what?
Bankers' wars. Yup.
See.
So more.
I mean, the true Israelites wouldn't have money to be able to fund a whole war, would they?
Right.
You know, they won't be able to fund their return back to the land.
Exactly. That's not biblical.
It should be the tail.
Right. It should be the tail and not the head.
Right.
See? And that's why, I to reiterate what I said earlier about, this is so paramount that the brother digging in depth to this Balfour Declaration and going prior to it is because just seeing this alone is a big question mark.
Yep.
Okay, and as the lesson goes on, we're gonna go into a lot of those question marks. You know, and what makes this sketchy? Because us being Israelites and the true teachers of this word, this doesn't add up.
Right.
Okay, the Messiah was supposed to take you back into the land. That didn't happen. Who was it? What's it? Walter?
Yeah, Walter Lionel.
He's not the Messiah.
Right.
You know? You got it, though, brother.
Bring out Bible Kushab, Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Because that's basically what are they? It's in their power. They got the money.
Yep.
They want to force their will into that land. So Micah 2 and 1. And it gets better in that paragraph. We got a little bit more. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And money talks, right? 2, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
His heritage.
Right.
See?
That perfectly describes everything we just read.
Yeah.
They covet fields and take them by violence. So they fund war. Come on, wow.
Right.
And houses and take them away so that they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage.
That's perfect.
That's a perfect breakdown of everything that you brought up.
Yep.
Because that heritage doesn't belongs to them.
Right.
None.
Wow.
We're being oppressed to the point where Jake can't even say that he's an Israelite without it being deemed what? Anti-Semitic.
Right. We're going to get into that.
Yeah.
Right? And that's going to lead right into the Holocaust.
Beautiful.
Right. We're going to get into that, and that's when you can step in because this is it's building the narrative, okay? Because now the whole come on, people were a lot brighter back then than they are now.
Obviously.
They're seeing that. Wait a minute, these fucking Rothschilds are funding wars and they're creating all this problem. So people are getting are looking into the history and getting upset. Like, yo, these Rothschilds are really moving these countries around for war and profiting off of it. So let's go back to that article, right? So more importantly, policymakers in the Foreign Office believe that the small hats could prevail upon to persuade the United States to join the war, right? Because there were Zionists all over, okay? At this time, there were very strong pro-Zionist feelings by many of the political elite and establishment, right, in the United States. Many Britain leaders, including Prime Minister David Lloyd George and Balfour himself, felt for the small hats and their history. These men were deeply religious Christian Zionists. Right. This gets deep, brothers. Right. Like, this is where I said, holy shit. Because, right, they had grown up on the Bible, which is true. A lot of them Edomites back then were into the scriptures.
The Bible,
right. Yeah. The Holy Land was their spiritual home. They believed the modern Zionism would fulfill a divine promise, to resettle the small hats in the land of their ancient fathers. Okay? So they're with it. Them Edomites here, okay, in the Britain and in America that are into the Bible and all that, they have Christian Zionists. Right. They're with this homeland because they're thinking it's fulfilling biblical prophecy, which is a heavy deception.
Right, because it doesn't fit. It wouldn't fit biblical prophecy.
Right,
Christian and Zionist.
That's what they believe.
That's an oxymoron.
Right.
Because the so-called Jews, they don't believe in the Messiah. That our Messiah came already. Exactly. But if you're a Christian, you're supposed to believe in the Messiah that you so-called Jesus.
Right. And he's coming back.
Right. Now, granted, in a way, it does fulfill a biblical prophecy, but not the prophecies that they're talking about.
Right.
They're talking about the prophecies that deal with the Israelites returning to their land. But really, in actuality, the prophecy that is fulfilling is the Edomites taking possession of the land.
Right.
Okay, in Ezekiel 35 and 36.
36.
Right. Yep. All right, so
I got a precept.
Yeah, bring it up.
It's a book of Psalms, 50 and 16. It said Christian Zionists, because Edomites, they got no business with the scriptures, man. Psalm 50 and 16. But unto the wicked, the Most High said, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Because it has nothing to do with them. And all they do is cause more confusion and really wickedness, man. Trying to use these scriptures which are not theirs, man. You know.
Right. Great point.
Precept.
Habakkuk chapter 2, verse I start at verse 4. Habakkuk 2 and 4 says, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." His soul is not lifted up. That's Esau, Edom, man. The point was verse 5. It says, "Yea, also because he transgresses by wine," meaning his philosophy, "he is a proud man, neither keepeth that home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathered unto him all nations, and heaped unto him all people." Man. So he transgresses by his wine. He can't keep home. That's why he tried to steal our land. What the Lord gave him, the land of Edom, Mount Seir. You know?
And what the brother's going into with this Balfour Declaration and the history prior to it is showing his philosophies, that wine. You know what I'm saying? That he's creating out of thin air. And why? Micah 2. He has the power to do it.
He has to do it, right. So he's creating his narrative. So let's go back to the Declaration Wikipedia one. That's good on that. So now we see where early Zionism, they go into it. It started, really the foundation, it started in Russia. And then it took steam. Let's go. Yeah, see, read the part right here. We'll read this. Zionism rose in the late 19th century in reaction to anti-Semitic and exclusionary nationalist movement in Europe, and it kind of starts to unfold why Edomites were getting upset with these Amalekites because of the shit that they were doing with the money and they definitely were privy on. Remember when the Rothschild family crashed the British pound and then they bought at the cheap? They lied about the war, losing the wars, and then there was over there in Russia, which that's what we're going to go into, because this is setting the narrative of the Holocaust and the anti-Semitism, Semitism. It says Romantic nationalism in Central and Eastern Europe had helped to set off Haskalah, or Jewish Enlightenment, creating a split in Jewish community between those who saw Judaism as their religion and those who saw it as their ethnicity or nation. The 1881 to 1884 anti-small hat pogroms in the Russian Empire encouraged the growth of latter identity, resulting in the formation of the Havana Zaire Pioneer Organizational, blah, 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 right? But the key part is first halaya. Just highlight that. First halaya. The first, does it open up? Usually it would open up. The first halaya, what also known as the actual halaya, was a major wave of Jewish immigration to Ottoman Syria between 1881 and 1903. Jews who migrated this wave came mostly from Eastern Europe and from Yemen. Okay, so this was the first wave. Now, why did that happen? We're going to go now back to, because now they started entering into the Palestine, into that region as settlement, because now we're going to go into the anti-Semitism, the narrative of hating the small hats.
Right.
So I just want to bring that out. Okay, so let's go back to now bring out the anti-Semitism. It's this one right here, brother. Yeah. All right. So here we go. Anti-Semitism in Russian Empire. Russia remained unaffected by liberalizing tendencies of this era with respect to the status of the small hats. Before the 18th century, Russia maintained exclusionary policy towards Imalaq in accordance with the anti-Jewish precepts of the Russian Orthodox Church. When asked about admitting Imalaq into the empire, Peter the Great stated, "I prefer to see in our midst nations professing Mohammedanism and paganism rather than Imalaq. They are rogues and cheats. It is my endeavor to eradicate evil, not to multiply it." So this started that right. It's because when you go into this, and there's more, you have the Pale of Settlement. What was going on was Imalaq was pushing Talmud shit in Russia. And you know them Russians ain't into that shit. Them Russians were like, nah, you fucking, okay, pushing that filth. And that's why there was a lot of friction between the Russians and the Amalekites. Okay? So a lot of them were like, all right, we're being persecuted, whatever, so we're going to go to the Palestine. So that's why there was a lot of these small hats getting into that land before the Balfour Declaration was set up. because they're setting that narrative of anti-Semitism.
Right.
They're building it up.
Wow.
If you go down, keep going down, because this is the assimilation attempts, right? In 1840s, the Russia's imperial government imposed special tax on Imalaq and used money to build a network of Imalaq schools with the goal of assimilating them to the Russian culture. It was decreed that the teachers in these schools had to be Christians, and that the purpose of the education of the Amalekites is to bring them nearer to the Christians and to uproot their harmful beliefs, which are influenced by the Talmud. That's how you know these were Amalekites.
Right.
They were like these weirdos. Okay?
Right.
So that goes to show you that these people who claim themselves to be the Israelites, okay, the wish people, they don't believe in the Torah and the Old Testament. They believe in the Talmud, man. Which is full of what? Perversion, pedophilia, you know what I'm saying? Witchcraft.
Yep.
Okay, all type of corruption, man. All right,
Evil.
evil. Okay, and that's why everywhere they go, you know, people don't like them around, man.
Right.
Because they don't have boundaries to how they act, man.
That's right.
And that's also how you know they're not the true children of the Most High.
Right.
The scriptures tell us we will enter into our land, we will push forth righteousness, man.
Right.
That's fucking wickedness, man.
Sin no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Those Russians was calling that shit out, man.
Right.
You know?
And you can see that, you know, till this day, that tension between Russia and
That's
those
it.
1948ers have remained till this day,
Right.
man.
Because they know the history.
Because they know the history, man. And you know, the Russians, those Edomites over there in the land of Magog, you know, they probably took that kind of orthodox, you know, Christianity and more traditional conservative way of living. They more than likely adopted that from Jake, because remember, you know, all of those Russian icons, those church icons, they were Jake.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so they probably just adopted that style of living and worldview. And when they assimilated Imalaq, you know, which are their brothers, into their empire, there was that clash between Imalaq and them because the different religions that they upheld, man.
Right.
Okay, and that's living on to this day, man. And the scriptures say, he showeth his word unto Jacob and his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not done so with any nation, as for his judgments they have not known, then praise ye the Lord.
That's right.
So if they're the people of the book, and these Edomites, especially Amalekites, if you're the people of the book, you're supposed to be upholding the scriptures, man.
Right.
You're supposed to be upholding the things that are talked about in Genesis, the Torah, okay, all right, the Chronicles, the history, the Psalms, the prophets, man. But you don't uphold those things. You uphold the Talmud, which is why everywhere you go, okay, there's a track record of evil. Okay, there's a track record of evil everywhere you go, man.
Right.
Okay, and that's why everybody hates you, which goes into what the scriptures say, what evils were multiplied in the earth, man.
Right.
Okay,
Right. And that's why the Lord has set up his men to put you in your proper perspective. You are the wicked that the Bible speaks of. And we're going to clearly make that point clear tonight. You got it, bro.
brother,
Good precept, Psalms 10, verse 4.
There you go. That's it.
Psalm 10 and 4. The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts.
The wicked. The Most High is not in all his thoughts, meaning he does not move off any vibration of the scriptures at all. He doesn't consider what he's doing is wicked in his latter end, as the scriptures say. Why? Because the Most High is not in all his thoughts. So how could they be the people?
right? Exactly.
Right.
Can you find the word Talmud in the Bible?
Right. Type it out, brother.
Matter of fact, the scriptures say what? None shall want her mate.
Right.
Seek ye out the book of the Lord. What's the book of the Lord? You know, the Bible.
It's no verses that says Talmud. No,
Because
nothing.
when you ask them what is the Talmud, they said the Talmud is something that was not written down, it was passed by orally, verbal.
And there was they also mentioned how the Talmud is a set rules outside of the traditional commandments.
Yeah,
That's
right.
They keep.
Yeah, it's an add-on. That's what they did. It was an add-on to it.
So it was an add-on, but the Lord started writing down commandments from, Mount Sinai. You know?
Their excuse is not for the Goyim.
That's what they do. So they don't want to
Wow.
Yeah, it's not fair, you know.
The Lord began to write a law and said, write these words, you know, and read them before the people. You know, when he made a covenant with Israel, according to the words that was given from the Most High himself. So where this Talmud comes from? Satan.
There you go.
You know, and you know, everything under him, Babylonian shit, you know, ancient Egyptian shit, to where it says you could have relations with a 2 or 3-year-old.
An alligator. You know what I'm saying? But, that's the truth, brother, because that's what, like we mentioned a few weeks back, that's what he is. He's a polytheist. He believes in every God except the true God. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And because he can't. The brother just brought it out. The Most High is not in all his thoughts.
Proving that he's a heathen.
There you go.
Back to
So yeah, bring up what you got.
That's 2 Thessalonians 2.
hold on, wait.
2 Thessalonians 2:8 it says, "Then shall that wicked be revealed, which is Esau, Edom." It says, "Whom the Lord shall pursue."
You know what? Salaki, brother.
I was jumping to say, please, Bible shot.
Yeah, there it goes into it, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Second Thessalonians 2:3. It says, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." Man. All right, so the day of the Lord wasn't going to come until there come a falling away first, man. We had to discontinue from our heritage. Then that man of sin, which is Esau in it, he's being revealed, meaning the son of destruction. Verse 4 says, "Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High."
Come on now.
And that's Esau Edom, man. He thinks he's the Most High. He thinks his nation is the sons of Most High. All right, which is a lie. All right.
Right.
In this, you know, obviously, like the Apostle Paul was going into, he said, you know, the mystery of iniquity, it doth already work. You know, but he who letteth will let until it's time, you know, for him to ultimately be revealed. Roughly paraphrasing. You know what I'm saying? And nothing new under the sun. Things he did back then, he's doing now. This devil actually sat on the throne in the temple. You know, the abomination that maketh desolate. Okay?
Antiochus Epiphanes.
Antiochus Epiphanes. And look, they're doing it again. They're in the homeland.
Right.
Kosher pig.
Yep.
Right.
All right. You fit the narrative.
Right. The so-called white man as a whole. I mean, Amalek and even the other tribes of Edom, they all did it. You know, going back to, like you just said, Antiochus Epiphanes. They called the temple. They called our temple the temple of Olympus, of Jupiter. And that's what they all do. I mean, you got Amalek, the small hatters, setting themselves up as if they are the true Jews. But you even got these regular Edomites. They believe that God, his angels, and Jesus, white, blue eyes.
And he said he exalted himself above all that is called the Most High. And that's what we're going into.
That's right.
How did they exalt? They're saying that they are the children of Israel. And any one of us that says it is considered anti-Semitic.
Right. Even though the history shows, like, bro, you don't fit.
This y'all history.
It's y'all history, bro. You know? Y'all were the ones. All right, we're going to get even deeper. What they were doing in Russia. That's the reason why the Russians were like, fuck this. We got to kick these. We got to go smack these motherfuckers around. You know, because the shit that we're doing. So you got more?
Yeah, Hezzy.
Oh, you got some more seeds?
Okay, yeah. 2 Thessalonians 2:5, it says, "Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things." This is Apostle Paul talking to the brothers, the church, the saints at Thessalonica, telling them these things, which is for us in these times. Verse 6 says, "And now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in this time." And what he's being revealed in these times right now. It says, "For the mystery of the iniquity doth already work." It's talking about the Roman Empire. It says, "Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way." So, Lord, Brother Parab quoted it, which is going to now. The Lord is having Esau rule until he take him out of the way. verse 8 says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth," talking about the prophets, "and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming," is our Lord Yahushua. Verse 9 says, "Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders."
That's
Lying wonders.
Yep.
Balfour Declaration.
Lying wonders.
Physical counterpart.
And that was all set up for money, okay, and to set up a lie of a history, man. That's it. And money to fund wars. That's why I said money. Money to fund wars. So now we're gonna jump down to what's known as pogroms. Okay? So this is where they get the whole anti-Semitism, all right, foundation. A series of genocidal persecutions of pogroms against small hats took place in Russia. These arose from various motivations, not all of them related to Christian anti-Semitism, which derived from the notion that small hats were responsible for the crucifixion of the Messiah. The primary pretext, here's the point for the problem, however, was the assassination of Tsar Alexander II. Okay? And when you go into this, it was Imalaq, all right, who literally threw a bomb at this guy and blew him up. Okay? And then they caught him, and then they hanged a whole bunch of them, all right? And that's when that started a civil war among Russia. They basically kicked off a civil war. And so, and a lot of people were like, it's you Amalekites that did all this shit. And that's why a lot of these Amalekites, you can read, they started to, the young ones started to go into Palestine. Way before the Balfour Declaration, all right? Which was a narrative they created because Zionism was already flourishing. We want to get this land. So they already were starting problems to push that narrative. See, this is why we got to go to homeland, because we're being persecuted. But they're the ones starting bombs, blowing people up, killing people, assassinating people. That's why the Russians are so irritated with them, which is spiritual, because that's why Ezekiel 38 will be fulfilled.
Right.
Those are the same spirits coming back. You know? All right? So
and the scriptures say that feed the flock of the slaughter. You know? Because Israel's sheep now. They have no power in their hand to do assassinations and do all these different things and come up against governments and powers and the principalities upon the earth. You know? So, again, they're not fitting the bill.
Not fitting the bill. So, so that's why the whole anti-Semitism came into play. And then, you know, Karab, you could lead, and then I'm going to land back you and finish it off with Christian Zionism, because that's going to blow your mind.
Okay.
So you got it.
Okay. So now we want to, you know, dig into the Holocaust a little bit, because, like, see, with the brother going into the history prior to the Balfour Declaration, and then the Balfour Declaration itself, and then all the things that led up to it. Okay, there's a huge question mark.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All of this is iffy. Okay, especially when you correlate it to the truth of the scriptures. Like brothers been bringing out precepts. They don't fit the narrative of being God's chosen children. The brother just brought out the wicked. The Most High is not in all their thoughts. Okay, who has the power to sit upon their beds? You know what I'm saying? And you know, ponder upon things they want to do and then practice it because it's in the power of their hands. Right. Amalek. Right. The scriptures say that Israel, you know, especially in these times, is a worm. You know what I'm saying? Now, the remnant of Israel is waking up, but yet it's still, our faith lies in the Lord. We don't have any might in our hands.
No might.
Right.
Yeah, we have no might to blow people up.
Right. But they have all the might in the world.
Right.
You see? And seeing that you brought out this, you know, about how that beef is still to this day between Amalek and the Russians.
Right.
Now, I had a video that I wanted to play, you know, and I don't, you know, because I don't want to lose sight of that topic right there, like I was just telling Z, like, because I was like, maybe I shouldn't show that video, but you just backed it by bringing out the information about Russia and how Amalek and they've always been at war. So I guess we'll start with that. And like, so what I want to do is, you know, bring out, you know, compare and contrast about things that were said that happened during the Holocaust, okay, and like I said, going back to that Hughes question mark, like shit ain't adding up. Now with everything, there's two sides to every story. Okay, now prior to these times, I became privy of the Holocaust, you know, and all the things that they said back in like 2011, and that's when it was at your disposal. You know what I'm saying? You can sit there and just get drunk off of, you know, all the conspiracies, and you know, that's how we ultimately came into the ministry, by comparing things, conspiracy theories, and seeing that, you know, just because it's a conspiracy theory doesn't mean that it's a lie. Okay, now there are conspiracy theories that are lies, but you trial and error. You try this against this. You know, putting in the work and seeing, like, just like we did with 9/11. You know, like looking at all the different videos and documentations, and shit didn't add up. Right. And the same thing with the Holocaust. You know, and there are a lot of conspiracy theories that we didn't create. They were already out there. But like I say, back in 2011, it was ready available. Like, it was like you could sit there and watch videos for 2 days straight, you know? Right. But now, especially since Imalaq has declared war against the truth, it's hard to find. Right. You get what I'm saying? But so what we're gonna do is we just gonna put it out there, okay, and show the compare and contrast, and then brothers, feel free to do your homework, to dig in, and you know, and do your research, do your own research. So like I said, let's get this video first. It's a 6-minute video. So what you want me to just send it to your phone?
Let me see it. I'm typing in.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Oh, okay. So, all right. Let's type this in real quick.
Time. Yeah.
Right. Got you.
Almost the bell with us real quick. Yeah, Jewish roots.
And like I said, you know,
come right up.
Obviously, Imalaq is going tooth and nail with trying to hide the truths behind, you know, the Holocaust. Okay? But like I said, brothers, feel free, you know. Feel free to do your own homework.
It's out there.
Right, it's out there. But you got to dig.
Right, that's why we brought out the first scripture. You know, the Most High can seal it, you know, but it's up to kings to search it out. Search out the matter, you know.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, want to play it?
Yeah, play it. And keep in mind what the brother was bringing out about the Russians and Imalaq, the history.
There's a long, bloody history with them too. You know? Right. Them two groups.
I got
precept.
You was gonna say something? Okay, I got precept. It's Luke. What was it? Yeah, Luke chapter 12, verse 2. It says, Luke chapter 12, verse 2. It says, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known."
And that's the mindset that we have to use, especially in this man's kingdom, okay? Because he is the master of deception. He is the devil that the Bible speaks of, okay? Now, can we verify this video? Can we say that this is 100% true? No, because in this video, they're speaking out of both sides. It's showing you both sides of the spectrum. And like I said, it's up to brothers to, you know, if you feel the need, dig deep, you know? And we've heard and what, you know, I'm just give a little premise, because the elders have always told us this, that Hitler was actually a Jew. You know what I'm saying? And they go back to his mother's maiden name, which was Schickelgruber, you know? But obviously, what is Imalaq going to say? Nah, that's not true.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
That's keep the lie going.
It's also a cut because they do identify themselves as being Jewish from their mothers.
Right.
Grandmothers.
Right. So, yeah, just, hey.
Heard it.
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there, you know.
Verse 3.
Yeah, I'll read 2 again. Luke chapter 12, verse 2 says, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore," verse 3 says, "Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ears and in closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops." And this truth is being proclaimed, via the internet,
Mm-hmm.
So there's no, Esau can't hide this truth. The Lord is this truth is growing.
Right.
The truth is being made known.
Right. The Balfour Declaration was over 100 years ago, and we bring it out right now.
Right.
Getting down to the nitty gritty of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's right.
And who, obviously the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shah is revealing it to us, but this is what you printed up. This is what you're telling us about the Balfour Declaration. We just bringing out your history. You got to go, bro.
Says that Adolf Hitler had Jewish blood, but this is not a new conspiracy theory. In fact, it is one that has been doing the rounds for years now. It essentially exploits a gap that exists in the dictator's ancestry. Let's tell you how. The rumors trace back to Hitler's paternal grandfather. Hitler's father, Alois, was an illegitimate child, so Hitler's paternal grandfather is unknown. His grandmother, Maria Anna Schickel-Gruber, gave birth to Alois in 1837. It is said that she was employed as a cook for a Jewish family then. There are also rumors of an affair between the two. So the Jewish man of the house could have been the father of the child. Maria's employer...
You see, it said it was an affair. Okay, so that's one side of it. And then, Imalaq, like, what's this devil? The video we watched years back that you put in the group chat, Rabbi A. Finkelstein.
Yeah.
What did he say? He said, even when we lie, we tell the truth.
Yeah.
And when we tell the truth, we tell a lie.
Yeah.
Controlled opposition, playing both sides. And that's one of the main tools that he uses in his deception and his witchcraft. Let's tell both sides. Right. So if you believe this side and he believes this side, y'all gonna be at odds with each other. You know what I'm saying? So he gonna have people that believe what he believes. He gonna have people that believe what you believe. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you divide and conquer.
Right.
You got it, though, bro.
The serpent
is said to have even paid her maintenance until Alois reached the age of 14. This conspiracy theory is based on claims by Hitler's lawyer, Hans Frank. Hitler's Jewish parentage was suggested in his memoirs. Frank says Hitler told him that this was a ploy by his grandmother. She let the Jewish man believe that he was the father. This was in order to get money out of him. But most historians remain skeptical about these claims. Firstly, there is no solid evidence to support Frank's claims. Secondly, the rumors first started circulating in the 1920s. This was when Adolf Hitler started rising to power. The theory was further encouraged by Hitler's political rivals. When the Nazi leader took control of Germany, the rumors got even worse. Some Nazi groups continue to air this theory till date. They call it the reason for their defeat in the Second World War. Others say Hitler's persecution of the Jews was the result of his own feeling of shame. And some further perspectives on these developments. With us on the broadcast is Nikolai Kokorin, who is a political commentator, joining us from Moscow. Nikolai, thanks very much for being here with us. Welcome to Beyond. What do you make of this war of words and this friction between Israel and Russia over Hitler, over denazification?
Israel and Russia. Yep.
We of course were very surprised. I speak of course about experts community in Russia, about specialists in history. We never speak that Hitler had the origin of Jews. Yes, we know that he was born in Austria, in Austro-Hungarian Empire. That was in 19th century, and he was Austrian citizen. After he was educated in Austria, he moved to Bayern. This is the land of modern Germany, and there he continued his political career. So it is clear for us that he was an Austrian citizen. Yes, of course, there were some rumors that his granddad had some Jew blood, but it was never it has never been confirmed by any real historical
If I could
witness.
just interrupt you there, Nikolai. What does the Russian leadership hope to achieve using terms like denazification? For many years now, in fact, Putin has maintained that anything.
So like, they know everybody else, grandma and granddaddy,
Right.
and great grandparents. They know everybody else line.
Right.
They know Winston Churchill line and
Right.
shit. You know,
Right.
they know Thomas Jefferson line and shit.
Right.
So therefore, him saying it's not confirmed is because they're hiding these facts.
Right. It's
You know?
it's as simple as saying it's not confirmed.
They know Napoleon, fucking peoples,
Right.
Yep.
his grandparents and shit.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
you can search these people on Wikipedia. It says father, mother, son of this person, that person, man.
Hey, and when you do his search, you gotta dig. You gotta dig. You gotta get a 100-foot shovel. I'm telling you, it used to be readily available,
Right.
but they know. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
really?
that's why they say it's not confirmed. Who says who?
Yep.
You know, how do we know that you actually tried to confirm it?
Dig, yet really, what we do through the Holy Spirit is read between the lines.
There you go. There you go.
You know,
They even know about the Dark Ages.
right,
Yeah.
right. You know,
They get all, yeah.
Look
You're
at-
right.
come on,
They
man.
get all to that history, but they
Right.
can't figure it out.
Right, they can't figure this out.
Yeah.
Right. The Egyptians.
Hmm.
Cut it out.
That sounds like Imalaq at work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Comes from the West,
Suspect.
according to him, is Nazism.
You see, we all know in Russia and in the former Soviet Union republic what the term Nazism mean for all of us, for all these Soviet soldiers, Soviet citizens who battled against Germany in 1941-1945 World War. We all know that around 28 million of Soviet people died, and there were also not only Russians, there were Ukrainians, Belarusians, Kyrgyz, Tajik, Uzbek, and all other nations who lived on the territory of the Soviet Union. So for all of us, it was joint big trouble, humanitarian trouble. Yes, and of course we know what is Nazism, real Nazism means. That means that the German nation is superior towards all other nations, especially towards Jews. And we know what means Holocaust for all people, and especially for Jews, because of millions of Jews were killed because of their nation origin. And then the Nazis came to Soviet Union, and they started to kill Slavic people. They started to kill Russians, Ukrainians, Belarusians, Polish people, Slovak people, etc. So for us, Nazism means that one nation superior towards another nation. That is absolutely impossible. That's absolutely incredible. This is a crime that you can kill people because you are superior to him. This is, and we know that from history, when the Nuremberg Criminal Court ruled out decisions about Nazism in Germany and
Nikolai Toponin,
punished war crimes. Yes, and Hitler, Goebbels, Goering, other war criminals, they were punished. They were killed or they were accused of these crimes. So for us, there is no problem, there is no dispute about Nazism. What does it mean?
well, thanks very much, Nikolai, for sharing your point of view and your perspectives.
This is more of what we see now today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which is, who controls the media?
Emily.
Right. So obviously, they're gonna deal with the conspiracy theory and then have both parties agree on it. You know what I'm saying? But the key factor is, like the brother Ramak said, we read between the lines. The theory came from somewhere. You get what I'm saying? It just didn't come out of thin air, and it shows you that it's worth the thought process. Is they actually did an interview on that,
and the motherfuckers who run the media actually allowed them to stay on air.
Exactly.
Right.
You see?
And it's spiritual Elon and the Russians.
And the Russians. Yeah.
Right.
But like the brother Kananat made a good point that guy, you know, on the right, he might actually be Amalek. You know.
It might be.
Right. And you can't put nothing past this devil. Man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he's everywhere. He's infiltrated. That's what they're known for.
Right.
Infiltrated all over it. Zionism. That's what it is.
Yep.
The protocols of Zionism, which I found out that where the country that found that was Russia. They found it.
See? The wormhole goes deep.
Yeah, it goes very deep. And then Henry Ford distributed out in America after Russia. Yeah, Henry Ford. Wow. Yeah, I was following a damn rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Did you get the Amalek? The almanac?
That's what I was just gonna bring that up because he quoted millions of Jews.
Right. Yeah, let's bring that up.
Yeah, great. Yeah, you
almanac. Yeah, just type in 1947 almanac.
And what's the saying? What 2 point something?
And go to images. Yeah. Allow.
What's their claim?
6 million.
6 million
yeah,
Jews.
Yeah, 1947 almanac. Jewish. Just put in Jewish at the end of it. At the end of the almanac. Yeah. Let's see it. It'll pop up. Lord willing. So the Lord. Boom. There it is. Yeah, motherfuckers. Right. It's one of these. It's one of these. So like, click one of these. No. Click this one. This one. There we go. And damn, it's actually 1938. My bad. A little bit. Okay, earlier.
That's it?
So yeah, this is it.
Let me open the image in a new tab.
All right. Okay, so if you see Germany, this is Germany. There's only 240,000 those claiming to be small hats. All right. The bulk of the 1948ers is in Russia, which makes sense. That's why that whole. All right, and Poland. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay. So it's physically impossible that Hitler killed all those damn.
Right.
Small hats. Okay.
They weren't even there.
They weren't even there. All right.
Matter of fact, one more time.
Okay, so Germany, there's only 240,000 that were declaring themselves as the chosen.
Yep.
Okay, only 240,000. Okay, it was 1938, not 1947. I don't know where I got that.
Russia 3,000.
Russia 3,000.
I mean 3 million.
3 million. Right.
Poland 3 million.
Right.
But in Germany, where Anne Frank and shit, supposed to fucking be 240,000. That's it, man.
Yep.
So it's all a fucking lie.
Right.
That's what it is. And when you hear about World War II, since we was young, you heard about when you hear documentaries from both sides, they use this word a lot called propaganda.
Right.
They use propaganda on both sides. They use that in all the wars.
Right. All wars are propagated off of propaganda.
Right. Get up. They make their own tongue fall upon themselves. Because read this part right here. The source, Esau, comes from the latest developed data by the American 1948ers Committee and the Small Hat Statistical Bureau of the Synagogue Council of Babylon. If you want to be petty. Okay.
Right. No, we getting petty.
All right.
I mean, that says it right there. Let me save this.
Yep.
Wow.
Right. So when you this ain't speculation. What the brother just pulled up. This is 100% factual. So when you see the fact of the matter, and they claim 6 million Jews were exterminated,
right?
You gotta have questions about everything else.
Yep.
And that's why I said about the Balfour Declaration, that's a question mark.
That's a question.
So everything that follows that is a huge question mark.
A huge question. It's a huge question, man.
Especially coupled with the scriptures, man.
You never seen an Imalaq with the tattoo.
Save images to
almost
download.
Number 5,600.
Right. And I literally I've seen
tattoo
like this close. Yeah, they came to the school and they forced this shit down our throat when we were middle school, man. Yep. We had to learn about the Anne Frank, and it was extensive. It went on for weeks.
Yeah.
Right. Did they ever force on us the conquistadors?
No.
Get the native,
no.
You know what I'm saying, and the indigenous people of this land? No. Did they talk about the transatlantic slave trade in depth?
The only time Black History was when February, but it's always talk about Martin Luther King time.
Right. Peace. And Harriet Tubman and people that actually sold out and became coons.
Right. Yep. So there you go, man. You know, the numbers don't lie. People lie. But bring it out.
Woo! That's a hell of an image right there.
Yeah.
Psalm 64. Psalm 64:8. Psalm 64:8 says, "So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away." Man.
Say it one more time, Mark.
It says, "So they shall make their own tongue fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away." You know, so they writing these things down, and Esau bringing these things out. Ultimately, for us, they making their own tongue fall upon themselves. They condemning themselves.
Right. And again, it says the world population right here, 15,748,000. Look, man, Israel is as the sands of the sea.
Right.
So what you talking about right there anyways, man?
Come on,
y'all
man.
ain't got it.
It was 15 million of them.
Yeah, y'all the imposters, man.
If I may bring out a couple precepts, Psalm chapter 10. You know, just not to backtrack too far, but the scriptures say about the wicked in verse 5. It says, "His ways are always grievous," which means everywhere he go, people don't like him. He's talking about the wicked. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. So, and we, that's the tone of everything the brothers brought out. It's like everywhere these people go, people don't like them. They're grieved by your presence in their lands. Okay, all right. It says, "And thy judgments are far above out of his sight," which means they don't keep the Torah, they don't keep the law, statutes, commandments. They don't care about none of that. They go by the Talmud or whatever is in for them. Whatever it is that they want to do, that's what they do. That's right. It says, "And as for all his enemies, he puffeth at them." And he said, and he hath said in his heart, "I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity," man. And that particular verse where it says that as for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. That scripture stands out to me. Why? Because of how they threw that bomb at the Tsar. Okay, all his enemies, he puffeth at them, man. All right, which means that he must have the power and the ability to resist his enemies. Those that oppose him, he has the power to oppose them back. Okay, to look down upon all of their advances and all of their, their hatred toward him. Okay,
and the Israelites
don't have that. Right, the Israelites not supposed to have that power.
Right.
Like you were bringing out earlier, the Israelites supposed to be worms. They're supposed to be as sheep unto the slaughter, man.
There you go.
Okay, they're supposed to be as one, who shall bemoan thee, O Jerusalem?
Right.
Okay,
right.
All right, these are people robbed and spoiled. All right, as the scriptures say, man. All right, now you could go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Okay,
bring it out.
Because earlier you were talking about how they were funding these wars. How does that make sense if you guys are supposed to be persecuted people who are under the curses, right? The scriptures say what? They shall lend unto you, but you know what I'm saying? So how does that work?
Let's go.
Okay, how does that work, man?
That's right.
All right.
Ain't adding up.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 44. It says, I'll start verse 43. It says, the stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. Now, mind you, this is one of the curses of Deuteronomy 28. One of the curses of the Lord that said that he was going to place upon his people if they broke his law, statutes, commandments. Okay? Right. So y'all don't keep the Torah, y'all keep the Talmud.
That's right.
So which means that you're not abiding by the law, statutes, and commandments, which means this curse should apply to you. Everywhere you go, the heathen and the strangers that are within you, they're supposed to be very high, and thou shalt be brought very low. Okay? All right? You're supposed to be on the bottom. You're supposed to be marginalized and hated, not, being able to basically put the whole world on pause for the so-called, anti-Semitism statements, man. Okay?
Who really fits that description?
Right, so who fits this description? The Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and the Israelites that are scattered abroad, the true Israelites. Okay? All right, you Amalekites, because that's really who you are. You're the chief house of Esau. Okay? All right? The same people that King Agag, all right, and Haman descended from. All right, you're the ones who don't fit the description. You fit the description of the wicked, man.
That's right.
Okay?
Can I quick precept just to land back what you just said?
Go ahead, bro. You got it.
Job 12:6.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, just to back up the bishop.
Job 12:6. The tabernacles of robbers prosper, and they that provoke the Most High are secure.
Right.
Into whose hand the Most High bringeth abundantly.
Right. That's a perfect land back, man. The tabernacles of robbers prosper, and they that provoke God are secure.
Right.
All right. The scriptures say, you know what I'm saying? Like the scriptures tell you, if you depart from evil, you make yourself a prey. But if you in this world and you provoke God, you make yourself secure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. So come on, man. All right. Again, this goes to show you that these people are not the people of the book. That these people do not serve the Lord of the Bible, man. The God of the Bible, man. They're not the chosen people.
Right.
Okay.
They're the ones pushing out that weirdoism in the schools, in Hollywood.
Yes.
Right. And they're prospering. They're secure. They're making tons of money off this shit, man.
I want to land back in that scripture Parab just brought out because it said, "In whose hand the Most High giveth abundantly," because it was their time.
Right.
Hey, Isaiah 26:10. Let favor be showed to the wicked. It was prophesied, like Lawyer mentioned early on in Ezekiel 36. They was going to be in our land, so they was going to prosper in that, in being able to get into our land. But let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly.
Right.
It will not behold the majesty of the Lord.
Come on. Right. So really, the Lord is in a way kind of show. Well, I want to say in a way, Scripture say, "Let favor be shown to the wicked." So the Lord has showed the wicked, which is Esau, Edom, according to Malachi chapter 1. They are the wicked. Okay, whose coming is after the working of Satan, the adversary. All right. Yeah, 2 Thessalonians. So that's talking about Esau. The Lord has showed Esau favor in all of his endeavors to go out around the earth and push all this wickedness to the point where he's been able to even go into the land of uprightness, the land of the upright, which is the land of Israel, and he still deals unjustly. So the Lord has been handing out olive branch after olive branch after olive branch, man. Long suffering, man. The scripture say what if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and make his power known, endured with much long sufferings the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, man. Okay, that's talking about Esau, man. Because of the same lump, which was Isaac, came one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor, man.
Esau still had a blessing.
Right, because he still had a... Come on, man. So what are you talking... This is obviously talking about the wicked, which is Esau, man. Okay, now when you go to verse 44 in Deuteronomy, going back to Deuteronomy 28 and 44, it says, "He shall lend unto thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail." So how the fuck is it the British are asking for funding from Ibadyah
for World War?
For World War to lend to them?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Come on, man.
World War, now. A war finna span different lands, battles after battle after battle after battle.
Right.
Big money.
Bomb after bomb.
Wars are very, very lucrative. Extremely lucrative.
Most expensive shit.
Right. Most expensive shit.
What leads the spending of damn near every government in these times? Defense.
Yeah. Yep. Right. Verse 45, it says, "Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and pursue thee, and overtake thee until thou beest destroyed. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God." So if the scriptures are saying these curses, mind you, the curse is going to come upon them because the Israelites sinned against the Lord, which means they're not keeping the law, statutes, commandments. They're not following after the Psalms and the prophets. Okay, which mind you, they admit that they follow the Talmud. Yep. Okay, so these curses are supposed to be coming upon them and pursuing them and overtaking them until they be destroyed, man.
Right. And removing you far away from the land.
From the land.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's go.
I get a piece of paper.
All right. So it's supposed to overtake them until they be destroyed. So which means there's not supposed to be no wiggle room out of it. They're not supposed to be able to adjust.
Wait. What the end of 68 says?
No man shall buy it.
Shit.
Come on, man.
Right.
Thou shalt see it no more.
You know?
Right.
So how do these curses possibly fit them? Now when you go back to 45, it says until thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be for a sign and for a wonder and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and gladness, with gladness and for the abundance of all things, right? Gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. Therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he ever destroyed thee. How do you guys fit these scriptures?
Right.
How do you fit it?
They don't.
And it reminds you again. It says, "Nation which language thou shalt not understand." You know what I'm saying? Those Jews that were in Europe and different parts of the world when the so-called Holocaust was happening, they understood the language.
Yeah, they had their own language.
Right. No. So what are you talking about?
That's why before they let somebody get on Good Morning America and bring out scriptures, they're going to really censor the whole internet.
Yeah.
Because they can't deal with the scriptures.
Yeah.
They have the rabbis on there and all of this. Everybody talking about the effects of anti-Semitism. I have to feel it when I go outside and someone says, "Then get the fuck out of here."
Right.
What about the scriptures?
Right.
They don't want to deal with them, man,
Not
because
one
they don't
scripture.
fit the scriptures, man.
Right.
You know?
And the gig's up.
Hey, Salakia. And that's getting to these Joe Schmo Amalekites, these Joe Schmo Edomites. Because, hey, for those of them who are doing their little research because of everything that's been going on, they getting cut.
Yeah.
Right, and they have a lot more access to information because they got the bread to buy these books and go into these documents, and they have access. They have access, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, the average Jake who don't got, but the average Jake is learning these things, so you could imagine how much information that they have access to, and they just getting cut all different type of ways, man.
Right. And when you look at it, obviously Esau's biggest adversary, I say spiritually is who? The prophets. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai.
That's right.
Carnally, it's the regular Joe Schmo Edomites.
Yeah.
Because he knows he got duped out of his kingdom.
Yep.
He was supposed to, and like the brother Ramak always say, Edomites living nice. They regular Joe Schmo Edomites, they living good, man.
Right.
They ain't like they struggling. Now you got some.
They're not like other men.
There you go.
Right, they
got
just
trouble.
they just covet. They coveting more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Big
Amalek kind of like, because when you look at these top like upper echelon, the elite bankers and those that are under them, like these heads of corporations and institutions and stuff like that, institutes and just things of that nature, like high level principality, they're all Amalekites.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So Esau feels like he really cut out of that exclusivity that they have, which he has been, but
Right.
still, like you still. Part of the blessing and the prosperity that Esau as a whole has been able to enjoy for hundreds of years.
Right. But
So like I was gonna say, because like the regular Jews or Edomites, they own their businesses, got grocery chains.
Right.
But Amalek owned the fucking whole supply chain that's bringing the they equipment and all this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's he's still an Edomite.
Yeah.
He's a regular Joe Schmo. He's still an Edomite, and they cover this. They want what the next one has.
Right.
Like damn, I was supposed to be living. I was supposed to own a continent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they see that ain't happening, and that's why Esau has been trying to go after the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms.
Right.
That's why, because the regular Joe Schmo Edomite, that's his carnal threat.
Right.
Jake, they getting guns to kill each other.
Yep.
The regular Joe Schmo Edomite is getting guns to go against the government and going against ultimately Amalek.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Yep.
But
they basically wanted to mow the niggas down on the way there. Basically.
right. Because
Right.
niggas gonna be mowing each other down. Like the brother Ibadyah,
Yeah.
elder brother in Atlanta, he was saying, he was like, man, Jake, the niggas in the hoods, they gonna use them guns on each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's gonna get to a point where it's dog eat dog and the strongest survive. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna mow each other down, and then a few straggling niggas and headshots. You know?
Bunch of target practice for Esau.
Right. But let's okay, so we dealt with the okay, let's get the article with the woman who got locked up for denying the.
Here it is right here, and this is on.
You can read it, bro.
This is on BBC News.
Right.
You know, Germany's Nazi grandma, given in quotations, given jail term for holla fraud denial. A German court has sentenced an 89-year-old woman to 14 months in prison for holla fraud denial. Wow.
Right. And the list goes on how many people have disrespected, you know, our heritage and the things that we've been through as a people. Ain't nobody went to jail. You know what I'm saying? These are things that have been documented that happened to us as a people.
Right.
Thousands of years. And nobody's been persecuted. Not one person's has been persecuted for it.
All right. You got Ted Cruz over here saying that they shouldn't teach about slavery.
Yeah,
that's on video. But did he go to jail? Did he stand trial for that? No. But this is part of the whole agenda. This is part of that Zionist agenda. You know, you think this old lady finna lie for no reason and get put in 14 months of prison?
Exactly. And
Come on.
She knew the consequence. She may have not known that she would go to prison for 14 months, but she knew the consequences for denouncing the Holocaust. She knew that. She knew it was going to be some type of flack coming down the pipe.
Hey, what they say, you know who's in power, who you can't speak against.
There you go.
You know? But it says a German court has sentenced an 89-year-old woman to 14 months in prison for Holocaust denial. Ursula Haverbeck, dubbed the Nazi grandma, they dubbed her that.
Right, they dubbed her that. She didn't dub herself that, okay? Or the neo-Nazis didn't dub her that, okay?
Right.
The Amalekites dubbed her that.
Just says we don't dub ourselves as black Hebrew.
It says,
right.
Has been convicted several times, but is yet to spend time in jail. She was first given a jail term last year, but received additional punishment for handing out pamphlets, repeating her beliefs to those attending court. So you know it was information on that.
Right.
And they don't care if it's the truth. They don't want you speaking up against them.
Right.
But under German law, holla fraud denial constitutes a crime and carries a sentence of up to 5 years in jail.
Oh,
damn.
shit.
Haverbeck. Wow. Haverbeck and her late husband were members of the Nazi Party during the Second World War. The pair founded a now banned education center, and she has written for a right-wing magazine where she has argued that the holla fraud never happened. Haverbeck was initially sentenced to 8 months in jail in 2016 after she claimed Auschwitz was not a concentration camp in a letter to the mayor of the German town of Detmold. And she's not the first to say this. It's plenty of documentaries telling you that Auschwitz was not a concentration camp. It tell you that a lot of those so-called concentration camps they was playing sports at first. They had food coming in. But when you're in the dead of war, when people are cutting off borders, of course food is going to stop coming in easily. You know, which they had to experience over there in Europe.
Right.
Which Americans didn't experience over here. They don't know about that, about food not being able to come in because you got armies taking this spot and taking that spot, taking these borders, and food doesn't come in, so people are going to starve, even civilians, even military men. If you watch a military story, niggas be hungry. You know?
No. Beautiful point. This fall right into what, but brothers, keep that in mind. What this brother just said.
Right. So basically, the concentration camps were a place for the wish people to be protected.
Exactly.
From the onslaught of war that was going on outside.
Right. And don't quote me on the percentage, but I believe it said that the people that were in the concentration camps were eating 80% more than the people that were outside of the concentration camps. The rich were willingly going there. Why? Because when war breaks out,
right,
and you're a civilian, you don't want to be living in your house when there's no law, when there's martial law, when the troops are the ones that initiate law, and they can just kick your door in and come and take your rations, you know, and then you got looters and people running around, running them up. So you go to these so-called concentration camps and seek safety.
Yep.
Right.
You see?
Because the real civilians outside of those so-called concentration camps were really getting fucked up. Look up the siege of Stalingrad.
Yep.
Millions.
Mm-hmm.
Civilians starving to death, man.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Look these things up. So all this shit is propaganda.
I got a precept to lay back what that unrighteous law. That's how you know, man, these Edomites are out of their mind, man. Proverbs 30:14.
Mm-hmm.
There is a generation whose teeth are as swords, and their jaw teeth as knives, to devour the poor from off the earth and the needy from among men. And with that crazy ass, 14 months just for going to jail, just say, hey, I don't believe it happened, man. And then what was it? The German law, the 5 years, up to 5 years in
prison.
For prison,
Damn.
just for being a denier.
Right.
That shit is okay, wicked, man. All right, and that's how you know through they policies, through they laws, man. I mean, that's how they're able to devour the people, man.
Right. And look at it.
Yeah.
When you sit back and peel back the layers, what benefit is it for her if she's considered the grandma Nazi?
Right.
What benefit is it for her? Because as last I checked, the Nazis hate Jews.
Right.
And their whole thing was to exterminate them. So what benefit is it her to denounce that even happened? If she's grandma Nazi.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Why would she, if she's grandma Nazi, they want to eradicate the Jews.
Right.
So why would she say, oh, well, that never happened?
Right. If she's grandma Nazi, she should be saying that happened.
And hail Hitler.
Yeah, and hail Hitler. She shouldn't be saying that never happened.
Right.
In war, the media of every country is very selective on what they're going to show their people. You know, to have the morale of the citizens, you know, rooting on this war, because it's going to take resources, it's going to take money, you know, so you have to have this propaganda for these people to go with. Oh, that's why, you know, we got to go to war because of this is that. America had it. Japan had it.
Right.
You know, China had theirs. Russia had theirs. Germany had theirs.
Right.
You know?
So,
right, you people act like these Amalekites aren't capable of lying, man.
Yep.
Right.
People tell fucking lies.
Right?
Like,
You know?
What are you talking about, man?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Fuck.
Right. Like, this is the thing, in the education system that we went to. Why can't we learn about the Balfour Declaration and how it all began?
Yes.
Why they want to tell us that?
Right.
That's important history. We should know that. Right? You want to tell us about Hitler and Nazi Anne Frank. Well, why not the Balfour Declaration and how it was concocted?
Right.
You know? So it's like, I'm just using that as a rhetorical question.
Sure.
You know, and that's why it exposes you Edomites, mainly you Amalekites, and your narrative, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to win the minds of the people. All right? But the thing is that every day people are waking up and seeing that the mainstream narrative is horseshit. All right? It's fucking horseshit.
Right.
Again, how many were in Germany? See, we gonna see, you know.
240,000. Okay?
All right.
Not even 500,000, man.
Right. Hey.
Okay? And only Hitler was able to take down France. All right?
Right.
All right? He tried to go into Poland.
Normandy.
And what happened? Russia came in and pounded him the fuck out.
Right.
That's war. That's history.
Hey, and
Right.
it's
Which, if I may say, you know, this, because, you know, from what I understand, the information that you brothers presented today, prior to this was when the Jews helped fund the British in the First World War.
Yeah.
So if they had enough money, because remember the British went to the Zionists, the Jewish community, to help fund World War One. If they had enough money to fund World War One, then that means they should have had enough money to liberate themselves from the Holocaust.
Right.
That don't make no damn sense.
Makes no sense, man.
See,
If you had enough money to fund some of the world's greatest superpowers at the time to help fight one of the most deadly wars in history. I mean, the amount of bullets, artillery, firearms, planes, medicine, hired troops, ships,
Second
Navy.
most deadly war.
Come on, what a second most deadly
World War
wars
One was.
in history.
Right.
Then you should have enough money to liberate yourself from the Holocaust. Right? There's no way. If this was actually as bad as they say it was, the level of persecution to where they try to tit for tat with the transatlantic slave trade and the conquistadors, if it was really that bad, there's no way Mr. Lionel, bitch-ass Rothschild, would have let his people suffer that long.
See, Zionism
Y'all make no dance.
it isn't just about paying your way into our land, it's about deceiving your way into our land.
Right.
Because you have to make yourselves the Zion.
Right. So is it? So does it seem so far fetched that there is actually conspiracy theory about Hitler actually being a Jew when we know that the conglomerate, which are small hatters, they wage and stage every war. And how fitting would it be to set up Adolf Hitler or Adolf Schicklgruber and have it seem as if he's persecuting the Jews, and then bomb out of nowhere the Balfour Declaration. Oh, you see, they committed atrocities against us. Right. So we can, now we deserve to go back into our land. And to have sovereignty in the state.
And that was the agenda the whole time.
Right.
That was the whole reason. So they built this, concoction of a lie to get into our land. All right, to deceive the world. That's why the scripture says he deceived the whole world.
Right.
What is it? Revelation.
Good. All right, Ram.
Z.
These are 2 Corinthians 6, 27 and 28. Second 6 and 27 says,
that's one of my favorites.
"For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched."
There you go.
How's it that this deceit being quenched by this word, man?
That's right.
Like Rev just said, you deceive to go into that land, man. The Lord said, "Evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched." Verse 28: "As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared." Man. So the truth is being made manifest, man. That this whole Imalaq, they've been a whole lie their whole time, their whole existence, man, trying to be us.
The whole infrastructure is full of shit.
All right, Ram.
Too many holes.
Okay, now let's go to because one of the things that they, just speeding this thing through, one of the things they said that they had gas chambers, to help exterminate the Jews, right? Okay, and one of the gas that they use, pull that up first, is Zyklon B. And then you can read, a little bit.
All right, Zyklon B, it's a German word, was the trade name of a cyanide-based pesticide invented in Germany in the early 1920s. It consisted of hydrogen cyanide, as well as a cautionary eye irritant and one of several absorbents such as diatomicous earth. The product is notorious for its use by Nazi Germany during the Holocaust to murder approximately 1.1 million people in gas chambers. We just read 240,000.
Right.
But 1.1 million people in gas chambers installed at Auschwitz, Birkenau, Majdanek, and other extermination camps.
What other ones?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then and a lot of times when you go into these images, you know what I'm saying, It's the same images over and over and over. It's the same internment camps. It's the same pile of small habits stacked upon each other in ditches. It's the same images over and over and over again. Right. You know?
And that's how you possess the mind. Repetition, repetition, repetition.
Yep.
And that's what Esau does on his media. Repetition, 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 you know?
Right.
The Maxine.
Right, and keeping in mind, war was ensuing.
Right.
This is the time of war. This wasn't just, everybody doing their regular thing and, Hitler come along, okay, I want to persecute the Jews. No, there was war going on. Okay? You got it right.
Hydrogen cyanide, a poisonous gas that interferes with cellular respiration, was first used as a pesticide in California in the 1880s. Research at the Gesch of Germany led to the development of Zyklon, later known as Zyklon A, a pesticide that released hydrogen cyanide upon exposure to water and heat. It was banned after World War I when Germany used a similar product as a chemical weapon. And look how they like to do this. What was that movie we just quoted?
The War on the Front.
On Western Front.
The Western Front. Yeah.
On the Western Front.
Yeah.
In World War I, both sides used chemical weapons.
All types of shit. Yeah.
They always use chemical weapons, but they like to put it on one side.
Yeah. Right. They always use it. Even in Vietnam, they use it.
Right.
Agent Orange.
Yeah. Right. Look that up.
Come on. Babylon.
So they like to play on emotions. That's what Esau Edom, boy. I can't wait.
Yeah, man.
Put him in chains. But it says the Gusta purchased the Gesch in 1922. Their team of chemists, which included Walter Herft and Bruno Tesch, devised a method of packaging hydrogen cyanide in sealed canisters, along with a cautionary eye irritant and one of several absorbents such as diatomicous earth. The new product was also named Zyklon, but it became known as Zyklon B to distinguish it from the earlier version.
Right.
Uses included delousing clothing and fumigating ships, warehouses, and trains. The Nazis started using Zyklon B in extermination camps in early 1942 to murder prisoners during the Holocaust. Tesch was executed in 1946 for knowingly selling the products to the SS for use on humans. Hydrogen cyanide is now rarely used as a pesticide, but still has industrial applications. Firms in several countries continue to produce Zyklon B under alternative brand names, including Dechia, the Gesch, the successors to the Gesch, who renamed the product Cyanasol in 1960.
So they still use it to this day.
Right, and that's it on that. And keep in mind, though, it said it can be used as a pesticide.
Pesticide, right.
Great point. Now,
hey, can I say this? Because I gotta say because we're loyal to it, bro. Hey, why is that not considered anti-Semitism, bro? They use that gas to kill y'all niggas while they still being used today, bro.
Right.
And I can guarantee some of the main shareholders in those companies are Amalekites.
Oh, you already know, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, man.
Oh, yeah. Who owns everything?
Right.
Okay. So now on the screen, we have images of those so-called gas chambers.
Right.
And as you can see in this image here,
It's a big ass chimney.
a big chimney.
Right.
And you're dealing with Zyklon B, it needs to be fully sealed. And why you don't see, you can pull up images. You don't have to do it now, but you brothers feel you need to pull up images of soldiers issuing out Zyklon B with gas masks and fully protective suits on. You're not going to find it.
Right.
You're not going to find it. And then when you look up the images, see?
Yeah.
Keep showing the same shit.
Yeah.
Same images. Same ones. Look. Same images.
Get the fuck.
Wait, so hold on.
This shit is bullshit, man.
I'm sorry.
This is fraud, bro.
I'm sorry.
Same shit.
Petty.
I'm sorry. So 1.1, how many?
Right.
1.1 million?
Right.
But this is the only image of a gas chamber you got?
Right.
For 1.1 million?
That's what they got. That's what.
I'm just saying, like I said earlier, we got to read between
And
the
mind
lines.
you, it is a pesticide. So
Right.
if it's a pesticide and it's a gaseous pesticide, there are cracks in rocks that the gas should be leaking through, and it should also be killing other organisms around,
right?
Because it's a pesticide, so it's not just harmful to humans. In order for pesticides to be extremely harmful to humans, they have to be extremely concentrated. Right. So if it's concentrated enough to kill millions of people, then that means that
no growth around.
No trees.
No growth.
Hey,
that whole ecosystem should be fucked up.
I mean, it's an apartment.
And look, they only showing this one little small building.
Right.
So how many people could fit in this building at one fucking time, guys?
Maybe 100.
Enough for them to kill people with this chemical at one time.
100, that's generous.
100 is generous.
That's very generous because
that's like laying on top of each other.
Yeah.
So what, they would have had to run that shit thousands of times. Shit, 1,000 times 1,000 is 1 million.
Right.
So it would have had to been tens of thousands of times.
Right, and that's being generous with the 100 because that barely look like it could fit 50 in that.
Right.
Real talk.
And if they ran that
to give
bitch,
him a little help.
if they ran this bitch tens of thousands of times with this big old chimney letting all that shit out, that shit would be Chernobyl.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Radiators on the
Right.
And none of these trees and none of that shit would be living, man.
Yeah, that's just green
grass. None of that shit, bro. And then what soldier you would be okay with, issuing out Zyklon B in those type of conditions?
And then how many Nazi soldiers would have been exposed?
Exactly.
There would have been a whole bunch of I'm all fucked up. This shit is
they killed millions with these two.
No, that's Somali's point is a good point.
Right.
That's a good point because that means there should have been soldiers that came out and said this is harmful.
Right.
Because this is harming us too.
Right.
So they would have had to stop their use of the Zyklon B.
Right.
Okay, and then try another method to exterminate so-called exterminate these people.
Right.
So which means that at some point there would have been a shift in the narrative because even when you you read the scriptures, when they tried to throw Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the flames, the flames consumed them too.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
On the outside.
On the outside. So
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So if this chemical is so toxic and they're administering it so much, that means there should have been soldiers that were harmed by this chemical as well and should have died as well during this whole situation.
Right.
If not, you know what I'm saying? So where are these soldiers that so-called passed away from the administration of Zyklon B? And if that's the case, I would doubt that during a war that the Germans would be okay with some of their soldiers passing away in one of the toughest wars that have ever been fought in human history.
But here's the
which
thing.
means they would have had to retract the chemical and try something else.
In a war that they were losing, by the way.
Come on, man.
Now here's one thing to look up. German warriors did
And it
die
shit down in
at
the
these
groundwater,
so-called
too.
camps, but it wasn't because of Zyklon B. It's because they were all fucking starving. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
German soldiers were dying. A lot of those pictures that you see are not so-called ish people.
Right.
A lot of those people, with their skin touching their bones, those are German warriors. That has been proven. You can look these things up.
We already did. Beautiful segue, brother. Now, Bible Quisha. Look up, type in the word typhus. Bible Quisha. And keep in mind what you mentioned earlier, war.
I don't know. I'm spelling like this.
Typhus.
Oh, yeah.
Comes with war, it says ease.
Now look at the definition. As a matter of fact, I'll read it.
Nice?
Yeah.
An infectious disease caused by rickettsiae, characterized by purple rash, headaches, fever, and usually delirium. And historically, a cause of high mortality during wars and famines. And because when I searched in the images, look what it got right here about fever. It got and skank.
And the thought.
You see? And we using your platform, Esau, to debunk your bullshit.
Yeah.
You see? And now, what did it say that Zyklon B was also used for?
Pesticide.
As a pesticide.
To kill.
What is lice?
A
pestilence.
pesticide.
It's a pest. And that's actually what was happening.
Right.
And then that's the reason why they had those ovens.
Right.
Because what is the best cleanser? Fire.
Mm.
So all of those people, those rich people that went willfully to those internment camps, what happened? It was unclean. It was unsanitary in there. Typhus broke out.
Right.
And to keep the infestation down, they gassed. They put the pesticide on them.
Burn the clothes.
And then the ones that were too far gone, they burned them.
Look,
and before, hold that thought. And didn't our 13th tribe, Arthur Koestler, say that Imalaq was dirty as fuck? They never liked to take baths.
You said that, and some you was reading said that they were dirty.
They were dirty, right? The Russians said it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So you were 30, and you were, yeah.
So all you have to do is type in Typhus WW2 and look at the headlines. Typhus, United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. Typhus, in particular, was rampant due to the lack of medicines to treat the disease or supplies to maintain sanitary conditions. World War II, typhus fever and malaria in the Mediterranean. Laos-born typhus. Hey, next one. How a Jewish ghetto beat a typhus epidemic. Oh, typhus an often fatal.
Oh, man.
NewScientist.com.
Oh, man.
Oh, so that's what it was. Y'all. Oh,
y'all nasty.
Because they nasty now, and they rich.
The Talmud.
Right, look. See, says Nazi propaganda portrayed the small as major spread of disease as a way of garnering public support for imprisoning them in ghettos. Motherfuckers is dirty, and the Russians kept saying that they were dirty. Because they followed that Talmud, they never fucking like to take baths. Yeah. It was y'all were unclean. How can you be the chosen people, man?
Yeah.
Jake
gotta be clean.
Jake gotta be clean, man.
Gotta be clean to go to
okay, cleanliness is the godliness.
Right. And when you
bro, they dirty now.
Yeah, they dirty now.
They're dirty now. You smell them, man.
Right. And when you look at them images, those people were sick from typhus, man.
Yeah.
They be emasculated. And they said they had a high mortality rate.
They were sick.
They were sick.
Because you would sewage dirty.
Because it was in typhus comes out. What? Wars and famines. Look, it was wartime, man. That's what people gotta fucking understand. It was fucking wartime in Europe, man. It was going down over there for all them people. From Great Britain to France to Germany to Russia. It was going down over there, man. People were suffering over there. Right. That's why the scriptures call America the place of unwalled villages. It's the virgin daughter of Babylon, because they haven't really experienced real war over here, man.
That's right.
You know? Yeah, you had World War II, and then you had the Great Depression and stuff, and people was a little broke. Yeah, I mean, the economy was messed up a little bit, but they didn't experience what the people experienced overseas, man. Right. People got bombs dropping on their shit, man. Mm-hmm. Look up the siege of Stalingrad, and look up the major battles between Russia and Germany, the major sieges, the civilians starving to death, in the cold of winter. Yeah. They go through shit over there.
Yeah, that's a part of war. That's famine, right? And food shortages and disease. That happens because the regular standard of governing,
diet and hospital and healthcare, that's all gone. So
it's all gone.
So they, of course, they were probably already dirty and struggled with lice, typhus, lice, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But because of the lack of food, the lack of whatever hygiene they even kept, running water, I'm saying, healthcare, that made the outbreak even worse. Malnutrition, you know what I'm saying? So really, them going to those concentration camps or whatever, that left them in a better position than what was going on outside those concentration camps. So really, as you dissect this information and bring it out, really the Holocaust is probably the best thing that happened to them.
Holofraud.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The Holofraud. It was really a good position for them to be in comparison to everybody else. It might have been bad, but it wasn't as bad as what was going on outside.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No, like I said, they said the people that were in those camps, and it's probably prior to that famine, because what was happening, it was a war going on, and when you look into the details of that war, and you know how, Shamar, you know how it happens. They gonna hit your supply lines. Yeah. They gonna hit everything to where you can't feed your. The main thing is feeding your troops and supplying your troops. They gonna cancel that shit. So if the urgency is for who? The soldiers. Yeah, man. Fuck the civilians. So if you cutting that shit off for the soldiers or the civilians, don't stand a chance.
Hey, and going with what lawyers just said, it wasn't that bad for them. Hey, even the wicked, they believe in sacrificing to get to the point, to reach their goals. You got that highly weird. You see that if you just saw Black Adam.
Yep.
The bad guy, he was like, hey, life comes from death or something like that. They believe in sacrifice, and they'll sacrifice their own people to get what they want, man.
Oh yeah.
Right. So basically, Germany. So Germany and the Amalekites that lived there in that region were basically the scapegoats.
Yep.
To help forward the elites.
Right.
Of anti-Semitism.
The 240,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Of anti-Semitism. Of course, they had to conflate the numbers and, just to forward the agenda of anti-Semitism. These people are marginalized and hated people, and also to get their hold on the Holy Land. Okay, all right, and to even more so block out the idea that Judah, the Negroes, are the Israelites. For all those things combined, that's why they did this thing. Okay, because if I'm correct, Jake, kind of started coming into their more, how would I say, self-identity more during the 60s and 70s. After this whole event took place. You know what I'm saying? So, they had to push out their sorcery and their enchantment first, so that when Jake start coming into their own, they don't connect themselves to the people of the book, because there's already a people who claim that they went through some hardship and that it's them. Right.
It ain't even into their mind that we might be we might be the true chosen children of God.
Because you look at it, Jake's suffering is clearly more harsh, atrocious, and it's in alignment with what the scriptures say.
Exactly.
You look at just Jake's aura. I'm saying wearing an afro, king. Jake's connection to the biblical stories of Moses and the Exodus. And being liberated from oppression and waiting for the Most High to come and save them. You hear it in the Negro spiritual
zeal.
The zeal. You know what I'm saying? All the tribes. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be Judah. Whether it be Benjamin, Levi, Gad, Ephraim, they all got that about them, you know what I'm saying? And then the oppression, to have our people have that zeal and that connection with the Bible and the stories of the Bible in the midst of the great oppression that they suffered, clearly these are the people of the book. But to blind and to, to cast smoke and a veil over that spiritual understanding, they had to push this bullshit out first, ahead of time. Because they knew they was going to put hell more on Jake, and that Jake was going to wake up. Right. They knew it.
And what's
just say for Jake to have sympathy for them.
Right.
Because Jake don't even look. Jake make the Holocaust surpass their affliction.
Oh yeah. Jake speak highly. I have my niggas I grew up with in the world, man. Hey, them Jews, man. See that why we got to be like them Jews, man. We got to start saving money like them. I'm like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Of course I didn't say nothing to him, but I'm just like, God damn, Lord. We fucked up as a people, man. You know what I'm saying? But that's also divine that we're able to do this.
Yeah.
Because it's through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shemal Shah, to sit and dissect this shit. And we'll never take credit for doing this.
Nah.
This is all through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shemal Shah. And that's why Elder Apostle Gabar, in that video, he said that limo pulled up and them dudes with suits on hopped down, they looking at the signs, and they said, how the hell did y'all figure this out? We spent millions of dollars to hide this from you guys. How did you find it out? And he said they just ran and got in the limo and took off.
Nope.
Because they didn't make account, like the brother Ramont like to say, they can't make account for the spirit. It's impossible.
So, brothers, this you got a scripture?
Yeah,
okay, you go bring out your scripture. And then we go bring out the climax.
Isaiah 25:7. Bishop Boyer, he mentioned the veil. Is Isaiah 25:7 says, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. So the Lord is uncovering that veil that's spread among all nations, man. The lies that Esau, pushed out, man. Like he's the chosen, he's been oppressed. Scripture says we've been oppressed more than any other people on the earth. Man.
That's right.
You know, so the Lord is breaking those strongholds that Esau been pushing out, and now the whole world gonna know that he's the wicked that about to speak. So.
Right, and that's why the scriptures also speak about him coming down with great wrath, because you playing, and I hate to say it like this, but playing the devil's advocate, putting yourself in his shoes. If you've amassed all the power, you got full control of everybody, you got a veil on people's face, and that veil is being lifted up, that is going to infuriate you.
Right.
And you still, I'm crush a nigga.
And you panicking.
Right, and that's why he said you're going to come down sparing none like a madman. You see?
Perfect. Man.
And this is what, through the spirit of power of Yahweh Shema Shah, what we've been doing is forcing his hand. We forcing his hand, and we know what you're gonna do. We already know the narrative. Okay, our Heavenly Father, through His Son, has given us the game plan. You get what I'm saying? Like a football team. At the beginning of the week, you get the game plan on how to deal with the team that you're gonna play. So that whole week, you studying your opponent. You play cornerback. You watching that receiver that you're gonna be guarding. You watching all his tendencies. That's what the scriptures has done for us. And we know how to fight. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We just gonna bring out the script. We're gonna bring out your information. This is Hebrew Israelite didn't put this information up.
Nope.
You put it up. So we're gonna bring out your information and slice and dice it with the scriptures. Plain and simple, man. How are the things of Esau sawed up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh.
Let's go.
You have more on that, Z?
Yeah. No, that was it, brother.
All right. You know what? Bring out Ezekiel 36:5 because this is the.
Oh yeah.
This is going to be the bang. Because and brothers,
It had to come
if
out.
you haven't heard this, I never heard this before, and I was telling Zakaria about the Christian Zionism. Ezekiel 36:5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, surely in the fire of my jealousy I have spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea. That's talking about all the Edomites that are colluding with this.
Right.
That are colluding with this lie.
Or not.
That includes Imalaq.
Imalaq, that includes Esau, Edom, that includes Edomites in America. All right, and Christian Zionism, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart and the spiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. All right, now let's get it in. Christian Zionism. Okay, Christian Zionism and the Balfour Declaration. While there are no doubt Protestants who see Zionism as an ushering in of the second coming, we should not reject all Christians who are zealous in their support of Israel. Now that's a heavy statement right there because you got Christian Zionists who are all for the statehood of Israel because they believe the Messiah is going to come and all the small hats go into their homeland. Okay?
What the fuck they need to be saved
Hold
from?
on, it gets good. Okay. As we approach the Sentinel of Balfour Declaration, one reason for the British recognition of the 1948ers' homeland on November 2nd, 1917, has been overlooked. While many historians either credit the Balfour Declaration to Chan Wiseman's contribution to the war effort or to an attempt to create sympathy for the British struggle among American and Russian small hats, a profound reason for the British recognition is rooted in religion, specifically Protestant Christianity. The Christian Zionist movement is today overshadowed by the small hats efforts rooted in Bible but expressed in modern movement to build a, state in Israel. In fact, as early as the 17th century, predating modern Zionism by more than 100 years, Christians advocated and imagined a 1948 return to the land of Israel. Okay?
All right.
Wait, hold. You want to bring out something?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, who were first called Christians?
Jews.
The Jews. So what you mean?
Right.
They were first called Christians at Antioch.
Right.
The disciples, the apostles, they were Jews. So what y'all talking about?
Okay. All right. So there's the synopsis. Okay. So now you can read more on that. Let's go back because I just want to get to the point. So now we know. Scroll down to the go up, and go to United States, America. Where does America fit in this? Check this shit out, brothers. Okay? In the decades since the establishment of the small hats, and especially since the 1967 Six-Day Wars, the most prominent American Zionist supporters of Israel have come from the evangelical wing of American Protestantism. American evangelism itself underwent significant changes in the years surrounding the statehood's birth, as a new evangelicalism led by figures like Billy Graham emerged from Protestantism and came to a cultural prominence. It was among these new evangelicals that contemporary movement that most commonly associated with the term Christian Zionist originated.
That's why he was so fucking rich.
Right.
So they bought him out.
Okay?
Yep.
If you know about Billy Graham, that motherfucker was rich.
Yeah, I know about it.
Okay.
He used to be on the TV screens and shit, late night, you know.
All right.
The arena.
Yeah, he had the arena and shit, man.
So what up?
Let's get it in. Many new evangelicals adhere to the dispensationalism, or at least held beliefs inspired by it. Most especially the dispensationalist understanding that the Jews remained in a special conventional relationship with God. Most important to the development of Christian Zionism as a movement, though, was that American evangelical leaders began building relationships with American and small hat, you know what, and building institutional connections with the small hat organizations and the small hat government itself. Crucial in building these relationships was a motivated coterie of American evangelicals residing in the small hat, our homeland, most especially the founder of the American Institution of Holy Land Studies, G. Douglas Young. Through his institute, Young worked to convince American Christians of their biblical duty to support the small hats people and the small hat state. He also worked as a go-between for small hat organizations and Israeli, small hat government agencies looking to build relationships with American evangelicals. Such activities provide the basis for the development of Christian Zionism as a movement. This is when it gets juicy. Such activism, it should be noted, was in many ways distinct from the prophetic speculation about the state of the small hats that exploded after the 1967 Six-Day War, even as somewhat common theology and hermeneutical antecedents, whatever the big word is. This includes the widely popular writings of the American dispensational evangelical writer Hale Lindsey, which sought to fit the small hats into a dispensational end-time narrative. In the late Great Planet Earth, for example, Lindsey anticipated, per Ezekiel 39, 6 and 8, that the small hats would fight off Russian invasion before realizing their miraculous deliverance and converting to Christianity. Their lives would be spared the great fire that God will put upon Russia and people of the coastlands. And per Zechariah 13 and 8 and 9, 1/3 of the small hats alive would have converted will be spared. Lindsey has been critiqued for highly specified failed predictions, even by those who share his eschatology. All right. So what? So this shit is crazy. The Christian Zionists are like, yeah, get these small hats into the land. Okay, we need them all in there because they want to bring the Messiah back. All right, that's what they're on. Okay,
That's what they've been paid to push.
That's what they've been believing.
That's bullshit. Because the scriptures tell you no man knoweth the day or hour, man.
Right.
Right.
No. I understand that. But this is what they believe in. This is what they believe in. This is what Christian Zionism. So what they're doing is, just hear me out, brothers. This is what they believe in. They're like, yeah, bring all these, we know they're imposters into the land, all right, because it will usher in the restoration of, the kingdom of heaven with the Messiah coming, and that the Russians, because they know the Russians are part of biblical prophecy, to go to war against the 1948ers. All right? So, literally, the Christian Zionists are like, yeah, we're with this too, because in their mind, baby Jesus will come while this happens. All right? But that's the Lord setting up with a snare.
Right.
That's the Lord setting up to deceive the deceiver his, to make sure World War III happens.
That's right.
That's what this is all about.
Yep.
That's why they have to believe that. That's what I'm getting at. That's the graphical loud. They have to believe this shit because they know the Russians. They even said Zechariah 13, so they know that majority of them small hats will never convert. And they know that Russia is going to bomb that place.
Right.
That's it. World War III. So it's gonna happen.
Right.
Just from this alone, they believe this shit, who cares? But they want World War III to happen. And then when you go into this George Bush, his cousin from like 102 years back, he believed in this shit. And that's why America is like, yeah, we want to push the constant wars.
But if they got the land, as the prophecy say, what would they be any need for war? And that's what they pushing anyways, because if you're a Christian, you know that those so-called ish people, they don't believe that our Messiah came and died on the cross, which makes them what? Anti-Christ. Or anti-Messiah. So y'all being hypocrites. Really, they're pushing that because they've all been paid off. But yet, like the brother Samak is saying, it's really bringing them to pushing up this World War III. Because Zionism goes with war. World War I, World War II, and World War III. It goes together, hand in hand.
Like the scriptures say, surely your fathers have inherited
lies.
That's another one of them lies.
Right, that's a lie. You know, and it's all leading to World War III. So World War III is gonna happen. You know, it's not. You can't get out of it. You know, they're like, yeah, we know the Russians are gonna attack, according to the scriptures.
Hey, what did it say? Jeremiah 49 verse 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he has taken against Edom. We just read in Ezekiel how Idumean, the Lord gonna get them all. They took our land. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he has taken against Edom and his purposes, that he has purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. And the least of the flock, we know who have the truth, is to be those so-called ish people, man, those small hatters who say they only it's 15 million of them.
Right.
It was 15 million of them in 1938, and then you had the rabbi on TV the other day saying it's only 15 million of them now.
Right.
Damn.
They just man.
No.
So hey,
death ratio.
Their own tongue followed upon them. Keep living forever. Because they're not the Israelites. The Israelites, we don't die, we multiply.
Right.
You know, the least of the flock shall draw them out. Draw them out for what? World War III.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. And that's where it's all leading to. It's leading to the final war, the war to end all wars, World War III. And the Lord, can you get Job 12 and 16? Because the Lord got these Amalekites and these Christian Zionists, these Amalekite Zionists in a trick bag. All right, they're thinking that they doing all this, they're going to get their utopian, but really they're destroying their empire.
Right.
That's really what it's coming down to. So Job chapter 12 verse 16, with him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. All right, and that's why I brought out that Christian Zionism and the Zionist itself, because man, when you look into that, bro, there's a lot of them are religious fanatics, and they're thinking they're doing God's will, but on the left hand side,
right.
And they're going to go and do this shit, and the Lord got them in a trick bag to destroy them, because why would they put the Russians? They know the Russians are going to destroy that place.
Right.
And wasn't there a video that Tech Mars and Alex Jones did that they said that the statehood of Israel is going to be no more in like 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
I remember brothers did lessons on that.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Put the pieces together. So it's going to happen, man. You know? And that's why I wanted to bring out, brothers. Like, this shit is going down, and the Lord got these devils in a trick bag, and they're deceived through their own pride and their own, bullshit intelligence, and just to fulfill prophecy.
That's right. And it's beautiful.
I got some precepts real quick.
Mm-hmm.
This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 23. It says, "And if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Hamashiach, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Hamashiachs and false prophets," which Hamashiach is the Hebrew way of saying the Messiah or the Anointed, right? "And shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, let's send him over to the Holy Land, and then the Messiah is going to appear, because the Russians are going to fight war boomed out of band, right? And the Messiah's gonna come and save them, and they, and they gonna convert, and the ones that convert, they the 1/3 they gonna be saved. That's bullshit. It says, wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth, behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so Yahweh is going to come from the east to the west to deliver his people. Right? And shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For where the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Also, I have another precept. Give me 1 second. This is Deuteronomy chapter 18. Verse 20, it says, but the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. And if thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken? When the prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, and the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken, but the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously, thou shalt not be afraid of him. And in that section of which we were going into earlier, if you could switch back to that link, that paragraph, it says,
which one?
The previous we just Christian Zionism shit.
Yeah, the Christian
Zionism.
Right.
It says what? That it failed, man.
Yep.
Okay. All right. It says that it failed. It says Lindsay anticipated per Ezekiel 39, 6-8, the wish people would fight off the Russian invasion before realizing their miraculous deliverance through converting to Christianity. Their lives would be spared the great fire that God will put upon Russia and the people of the coastlands. And as per Zechariah 13, 1/3 of the wish people alive who have converted will be spared. All right. Lindsay has been critiqued for highly specific failed predictions, even by those who share his eschatology, which eschatology means the study of interpreting prophecy. All right, interpreting, latter-day prophecy specifically. Okay, all right. So that goes to show you that he spoke presumptuously. All right, and that it was not spoken of the Lord, and that he spoke in the name of another God, which is Jesus Christ. All right, and he's going to die.
That's it.
All right, he was a false Messiah himself and a false prophet for even trying to predict and foretell that was going to happen. Right. All right, which goes to show you again that those people over there in the land of Israel are not the real people of the book. Okay, matter of fact, they actually do fit a prophecy, and the prophecy that they fit is the one in Ezekiel chapter 36 and 5, when it talks about the Idumeans that would appoint the land into their possession with the joy of all their hearts and with the spiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. Okay, so that's the prophecy that they fulfill, not the prophecies of the Israelites returning. Okay.
That's right, and it's so beautiful because they're falling right into the trap of destruction. Because that land's going to get obliterated according to Ezekiel 38. Can you bring it out, Zechariah?
This is book of Ezekiel 38. Starting at verse 18. In Ezekiel 38, verse 18, it says, "And it shall come to pass that at the same time when God shall come against the land of Israel, said the Lord power, Yahweh, that my fury shall come up in my face." Verse 19, "For in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel." That great shaking is those missiles, man. All right, the Lord going to send a lot of missiles over to that land, man. So, because why? It's polluted because Amalek is dwelling there and those heathens. And that land got to be cleansed of all the filthiness and all the temples and all the idolatry that's in that land.
There's been a lot of bloodshed
It's like flesh. Yeah.
Right. And what you Edomites and the rest of you heathens, you're going to come to realize that the salvation is going to be, the main salvation is going to be here in Babylon the Great. Okay? This is where the big salvation is going to be out of. All right? The Lord's going to gather us from our captivity. All right? So y'all going over there are trying to push a bullshit narrative. The Lord sets y'all up in a snare for the nuclear fire, man. And that's what this is. You're going to fulfill that prophecy. All right? And that's going to shake the core of the narrative of these people. Like, holy shit, they're not the chosen people. The Lord will wipe them the fuck out. Right. They obviously can't be the chosen people.
He's going to have war with Imalaq forever. He's going to blot out the remembrance of Imalaq. So I'll read verse 20. Ezekiel 38:20 says, so that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the field and all creeper things that creep upon the earth and all men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake at my presence, and the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground. And that reminds me of that Welland Wall, man. That they go in there to worship, man. You even got presidents that be going there, man.
Putting the little small hat on.
Yeah.
Shit.
You know, I said that place is gonna be, it's gonna be hit with nuclear missiles and laser fire from the chariots. All right, so it can be built up again, man, with sapphire, with gold, because that land gonna be beautified again, man. You heathens, y'all gonna build it up, man.
Right, they should ain't built up with agates and
man.
sapphires. They not finished. They don't fit the scriptures, man.
Transparent gold.
Yeah, I would say that. Where's the golden foot?
And again, where are the other tribes?
Where the 12 gates.
Yeah, the 12 gates.
One of the pearls on the gates.
Right.
Even little Scrappy said that. He said they only claim to be one tribe. Where are the other 11 tribes?
I also
Scrappy said.
Yeah. I also want to bring out, because for them Christian Zionists, because they're trying to push the day of the Lord. Can you get Amos 5:18? Because that was what I wanted to land back with that statement. You know, because that's really what this, these fanatics, they thinking that baby Jesus is gonna come back, and by them doing this shit, but it's to their own destruction. Amos 5:18, woe unto you to desire the day of the Lord, to what end is for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. And that's to you Zionist Christians and you Zionists, all right, who are now believing in baby Jesus, all right? The salvation is coming, okay, for the 12 tribes of Israel, and those consist of mainly the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right? Y'all, all you plantation Christian, you Edomites, all right? The Lord got you in the trick bag to make sure this war pops off and you die in it, man. All right?
True.
Okay? And of course, to push that M to the O to the B before the nukes fly. That's what your purpose is, all right? And the Lord set this all up, all right, so that you will fall, okay, in your own trap, your own snare, your own devices, man. All right? And that's why, man, this is so beautiful that we're able to, the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, bring out these articles, bring out this history to really, cut your bullshit narrative. All right? Because the elect are going to be sealed by this. And that's all that matters.
That's right.
Shit,
we was edified by this in this room.
Heavy.
Big time.
Yeah, so Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. We want to give all praises and all glory to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakapadash.
Double honors to the apostles of great millstone who grew well toward us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today.
That's right.
And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Love you, brothers. Keep enduring. Keep pushing. Keep fighting. Keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostle elders. And for the few sisters that are watching, keep studying when you pray. Pray each other. Cover Shalom and abide with all.
Shalom.